As people start to gather direction within their life, there comes a point in time where any reasonable person must undertake a decision that will irrefutably change the outcome of their life, and hence the production of their life afterwards. This could be simple things for the world of high authority, an individual such as a politician or a member of the monarchy. It could be something simple, but it could be monumental for an individual who is on minimum wage or is in fact homeless. These forks in destiny, as people would elaborate to call them, could be a resultant of a job promotion, a job offer, a relocation, a new relationship, the end of a relationship, and unfortunately, most sadly, the most common choice, to do nothing. The reasons why many individuals, they stem from person to person, but it's always something along the lines of, it's too far, it's too much responsibility, I don't see this working out. Humans have a horrible habit of overcomplicating and overanalyzing things to the point where they will talk themselves out of it. So why leave this perfectly fine job for a possible better one? Why go into this relationship when eventually he or she will just leave me again? And the most popular one, personally to me, is why leave the EU when we were okay in it? Justification for each question is proven by the logical facts we provide within our own mind. What many individuals don't realise is that your mind is made up within the first few seconds of hearing said question. The decision is an amalgamation of all different forms of nature and nurture through one's individual life. This promotion within a job you may be considering, have you ever thought to yourself, it's too good for me? When in reality, you have just as much justification for having the promotion opposed to an external contractor that would be considered. But this mental block has already said to no to you. Having this position, so that you would follow a path in your own mind, make the logical steps, and would not apply yourself to it and give up. Just as a Tibetan monk practices meditation to find themselves daily, the average man has dozens of reflections that they will talk themselves down and stop themselves from reaching what they desire. These tiny details of self-reflection stop you from developing yourself into the person you want to be, due to the reasons being vast and various, but these self-reflections are almost always criticisms. They are almost never positive reflections, and this is where the practice of Buddhism comes into a realization that you have to reflect within yourself and see the God within yourself. Just as Christianity has the Bible, Islam has the Quran, Judaism has the Torah, it is up to a Buddhist monk to reflect within themselves and find their own teachings. And as critical as religions can be given sometimes, they are guidelines to live rich and healthy lives by, and they will give a higher level of quality in your life. You don't inherently have to be a practitioner of a religion to inherit its compass and morals. Religion is a large part of actually finding out who you are within yourself. You can align with religion, that doesn't mean that you are a practitioner of it. I have met many men that have read extensive literature pieces, practiced different and vast religions, and still do not know what direction of happiness their life is in. But you will find them actually having a greater fulfillment of life from their purpose. So this gives rise to the conclusion that if you follow guidelines within your life, you'll never be satisfied. You may be fulfilled, but you won't be sated to your desires. Just like a fish in a small fish tank, you will only have a small pond to experience, and everything life has to offer will be within that pond until you make a decision to go elsewhere and try new things. Then we have the opposite side of the process of decision making. The atheist, surely opposed to the existence of a greater deity, and through factual meaning can extract the emotional environmental factors of a decision and give rise to a logical decision. But this can lead to problematic situations when it comes to using emotional judgment to create a decision, such as families, internal job affairs, that sort of thing. But by both philosophical life methodologies, you can give rise to the ideal mindset of creating the healthy life. But both contradict one another. To be logical means to have no faith and not believe in a higher power because you cannot see it. And to be emotionally inclined means you cannot make a logical decision due to you always having faith in something else that is above yourself. Which some people do make great decisions based in their positions, but from a satisfied point, you will never be truly sated until you learn to see both sides of the fence. So where does the solution for this conundrum come into? Well, this comes along the lines of a instant decision, living in the moment, if you will, and giving your entire being to your decision. Quick analogy to further elaborate on this. When I was young, we used to play a game that would essentially give a fast personal question, such as blue or brown? Blue. Hot or cold? Hot. Up or down? Down. Moon or sun? Sun. Stacey or Rachel? Stacey. And there was your decision. This decision was based on the needs and wants of your body. This is the thing that was most appealing to your mind and your subconsciousness. By applying a primitive but effective practice, you can take a decision that would become almost impossible to your decision making and answer instantly. Why is this the case though? What causes our brains to be hardwired to give an instant decision that we could put hours upon hours to only have a quick 10-second child's game and do all of it? For those of you familiar with engineering terms, this is what's referred to as a hard system reset. Your psychological conditioning is stripped away and the layers of modelling that the environment and principles that are close to you have imprinted onto you have gone away. This decision method is highly impactful by your subconsciousness. It could be something as silly as alphabetical order, but this makes the decision that you wanted because your subconsciousness is satisfied with it. And you will find when you come to this crossroads and come to this decision, you do not regret the answer. Like I previously stated, this may not be the best choice, but it is a choice that only you and you would make at that given time to satisfy yourself. It may change in a year's time, it may change in 10 years' time, but that at the current moment is time, it is what your subconsciousness craves and wants. Many people are bent and guided by the actions and presence of others. I personally knew an electrification development engineer that would frequently have to relocate to India every few months. Granted, this wouldn't be a problem if it was not for the United Kingdom's board laws now, due to him spending over half of his time outside of the UK every year. For business reasons, even if it was, he was not allowed citizenship. Yet again, that's not a big problem for an engineer. He had both lives in the United Kingdom and in India. He was content. This occasion quickly changed though, and his equation had another variable added to it when his wife fell pregnant. Suddenly, his world became not just his decisions, but also his child's. What would he do? Where would he take them to school? What would their citizenship be like? Could he afford to still stay in his job? Now, this dilemma was brought on upon by a series of events. This child was unplanned, yes. He was underprepared for it. He wanted a child in another 3 or 4 years where he would have settled down, decided where he wanted to create his business. But unfortunately, one night of passion led to a man's plans to go up in unquenchable flames, leading this poor gentleman down a heavy downward spiral that would only progressively get worse and worse. This is not saying that the child was not welcome, nor it had ruined his life. He was just merely underprepared for it. And he progressively got worse and worse, questioning more and more, panicking more and more. For obviously there was a clock on what he could do. And unfortunately, laws and citizenships take time. So would he be able to finish it in time? Or would he have to move to India? So this is what the question came down to. India or the United Kingdom? This is where I first applied my methodology of decision making to a logical, emotional situation to get verification that it works. He agreed to it, and he was stressed, so he obviously could not make a logical and emotional decision in his current mindset. He was stressed and planning so far ahead into the future that a normal man would think it was beyond bizarre what he was asking. He was saying, where should I send the child, to university or college? What age should they get married? All of these questions had appeared in this poor man's mind, and it had only been 2 months since the conception. Applying the subconscious selection method, he decided that India was the best bet, and he wanted to let the child be raised around her family. Now, was this the best choice for the gentleman? God no, greatly no. He was in the prime of his career. He made a logical, emotional decision. But just as an agnostic does not believe in God, just how a Muslim believes that the Great Allah watches all, and just how a monk tries to reach enlightenment, all the beliefs around him shaped the man he was. He chose his child over his career. A choice, no matter how much you could attempt to reason and put logic and emotional thought behind it, you would never reach a conclusion for it. His boss would beg him to stay, his wife would cry for him to leave, but he knew without a doubt he had made the right decision for what he wanted. And this is what's important about this process. It's not inherently the good decision, it's not inherently the bad decision. It's the decision that you think is fundamentally right.